This is Talk Business and Politics with Roby Brock.
Welcome to the program. I'm Roby Brock. Thanks for joining us. There is a challenger to 3rd District Republican Congressman Steve Womack. His name is Josh Mahony. He's 36 years old and is active in the nonprofit community in Northwest Arkansas. Talk Business and Politics executive editor Michael Tilley caught up with him yesterday for a conversation.
Well, Joshua, thanks for being here with us today. Joshua Mahony, you've decided to run as a Democrat in the 3rd District, which has been Republican since 1966. So no pressure there to start off with.
Right.
But quickly, give us a quick bio of how Joshua Mahony ended up from El Dorado in moving into the 3rd District.
Okay. Well, first, let me tell you, thanks for having me. I been a fan of the show for a long time, so it's neat to be on here. So I grew up in El Dorado. Ended up in college here. I moved off for a while, and my stepfather, the man who raised me, I call my dad, Mike Mahony, got sick, and so I moved back to Arkansas. I was working as an intern for Blanche Lincoln for a bit and was going to stay in D.C., but when he got ill, came back to Fayetteville, and I've been here ever since, and I started getting involved in a lot of nonprofit projects, and that accelerated more and more to where I was more involved in the community and at the state level, and the 3rd District has grown as far beyond anybody's expectation, I think. And so I think we have.
Although the size of the district has shrunk.
The size of the district has shrunk, but the diversity of opportunity and people here, I think you could put up next to anywhere in the world.
So you've been here since 2000?
Yes, that's correct. About 17 years.
17 years. So let's just address the big question.
Mm-hmm.
Congressman Womack, the incumbent, has won by 70, 72, 68. I mean, pretty hefty margins in the past elections. Let's address 2 points. What are the political realities and the financial realities for Joshua Mahony to upset Congressman Womack?
Well, going back to what you said initially, the 3rd District has been a Republican stronghold since 1966, and that was probably a retaliation for the Civil Rights Act of '64, if we really want to get into the history there. And Congressman Womack is a well-known name. He's got a lot of history in the area. He did a known job, I shall say, as mayor in Rogers. Some people appreciated it, others did not. There were articles in Newsweek about some of his policies and things of that nature. And so, the uphill battle in terms of name recognition and the fact that a lot of people here will, just intentionally vote Democrat without much, need to look further than the letter after somebody's name. For me, I've had a long history in the Democratic Party myself and my family, so, I am as blue as it can get in terms of, I was born with it in my blood. But
that's a hurdle in the 3rd District.
It is a hurdle, absolutely. But I will tell you this, we are in interesting times. You don't have to be a Democrat to appreciate that, our moms and dads need to have affordable health care. You don't have to be a Democrat to want somebody to stand up to a president who proposes cutting free and reduced lunch for kids that aren't going to get any other meals that day. You don't have to be a Democrat to want your congressman to stand up to a president that's going to cut after-school programs as a proposal. Those are kind of things that are universal.
So although Trump is very popular in Arkansas with all the polling, you think that some of the recent legislation that's come out of Congress, some of Trump's statements and actions may help an incumbent in the 3rd District? Is that part of what you're counting on?
Yeah, absolutely. I always believe that Arkansas cares about its neighbors and its children. It's a tradition we've always had in this state. And I don't think people in the state have changed so much as the letter behind our names have changed.
So you've been here since 2000. At what point did you think, okay, I'm going to run for the 3rd District? When did you decide, and what was the impetus for that decision?
I was approached by a good friend of mine, DeAndre Jones. He's head of the Northwest Arkansas Black Caucus, and this was probably this time last summer. He invited me to dinner just to talk about some projects. I eventually ended up working on a scholarship committee for them that I'm very proud to be a part of and included in. But and I thought that's what we were going to talk about. But DeAndre sat me down. He goes, I want you to think about running against Congressman Womack in the 3rd. And, at that time, we were pretty sure a Democrat was going to win the presidency. And so we're like, well, 2018 is going to be a rough year for Democrats. And Congress, and this is already a hard district to begin with. But here we are. Things happened on November 8th that I don't think anybody really forecasted, but, in retrospect, it's easy to see how it happened, at least to me. And so, given some of the legislation that's come down the pipe, the lack of congressional dispute with the president's policies, I think has been an issue that a lot of people in our district will resonate with.
Well, as the famous saying goes, all politics is local. And
absolutely.
One of the things that Congressman Womack's been good about is, he's supported community projects like the 188th. Fort Smith, he's been very supportive, as most congressmen are, bringing infrastructure money back to the district. A lot of those fundamentals that really aren't policy or politics. It's just, helping communities. How do you overcome that, or what do you plan on addressing during your campaign that will convince people that you will be just as active in supporting some of the big issues in the community? I mean, Northwest Arkansas, for example, will continue to need a lot of highway money and that type of infrastructure
Right, absolutely,
money.
Absolutely.
So how does a Joshua Mahony convince the voters that I'm going to be just as active in that?
Well, I can tell you, I think I have a history of service to my community in different forms. As president of the Arkansas Single Parent Scholarship Fund and on that board of directors for a number of years now, I consider that a workforce development program. We give scholarships not particularly just for college, but if you want to have a technical degree or do some type of training, we want to make sure you have a sustainable income. But we've given out over 40,000 of those since that organization started. Everything I do is around education and getting to jobs. I ran an unsuccessful but very positive and very competent county judge campaign in 2016. And that was also around infrastructure. A lot of what I did was go visit with our road crews and things like that. And there's so many community projects that I've already been involved with that you can see around town. Now, they're not necessarily infrastructure like roads, but my involvement in the community is known and I think understood, and something that will be easy to display.
One last question. So what stars have to line up between now and November 2018 for a popular incumbent congressman in the 3rd District to lose in the general election?
If things keep going like they are, I think there's a good chance. I wouldn't be in this race if I didn't think there was a path to winning, and I truly think there is a path. We've got so many groups that are angry, they're activated, and they're organized.
But you've got to get them to vote.
Well, and I know, and you and I talked about this on the phone, and there's a difference, I think, because it is unusual times. These groups get together and they carry out action items every month. They'll have a list of 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 things that they're going to do before they get together again. So these are not people that are getting together just to be upset about what's going on and protest. These are doers. These are people that go out.
So you think there's going to be a true grassroots?
I absolutely believe that there will be. And I think it is very dangerous to underestimate the indivisible organizations, United Progressives, and some of these other folks. Gosh, even women Democrats in Fayetteville or Washington County, those meetings typically we'd have about 40 people. Our first meeting of 2017, we had, I think, 175.
Think you'll have any other Democrats get in the primary?
I would welcome any of them if they did. I'll be curious to see. I have not heard anything from anybody, and I feel like, as many conversations as I had leading up to this, that surely it would have crossed my plate. Typically, somebody will say, well, I've heard somebody else talk about it. And honestly, I don't know if anybody's quite as scrappy or as crazy as I am to do this, but we can do it and we can win.
Josh Mahony, good luck. It's an uphill climb for you, but good luck.
Thank you so much, Michael. I appreciate it.
That's Michael Tilley with Democratic congressional candidate Josh Mahony. By the way, Mahony put out a statement on Twitter last night after President Trump fired FBI Director James Comey that said it was time for an independent investigator to be appointed. That news broke after the interview. We're back with more right after this.
Arkansas Electric Cooperative Corporation provides electric energy across 2/3 of Arkansas. This is an exciting time in our energy history, with incredible progress being made in renewable energy and storage technologies. As our energy portfolio continues to diversify, we'll maintain an all-the-above strategy to provide reliable and affordable electricity. Ever since the first light bulbs were placed in our members' homes, the electric cooperatives have been the solutions provider for our members, and we want to continue that well into the future.
Each day, the promise of our nation begins again. Arkansas, and America moving forward. I help make that promise a reality. It's not for everyone, but people everywhere depend on us. Trucking delivers, or everything stops. And that's what drives me.
And welcome back. On our home site, talkbusiness.net, you can find a lot more information than just the headlines. In addition to our top stories and big interviews, we also have a healthy stable of industry-specific microsites. Today we focus on startups and entrepreneurship. That microsite is underwritten by First Security Bank. Well, what will you find in this space? You'll find stories and news related to small businesses, such as the Small Business Administration's Business of the Year. That's Victoria Washington's Vision IT Consultants. You'll find additional stories about activities happening in the startup scene across Arkansas, and news about many of these Arkansas-based startups as they grow, as they make acquisitions, and as they conquer new frontiers. Tomorrow, our guest on Talk Business and Politics Daily will include Gary Norcross. He's the CEO of FIS, a large financial tech firm that has roots in Arkansas. Gary is leading the second FinTech Accelerator at the Venture Center and Little Rock Tech Park. You'll want to hear about the startups sprouting from this endeavor. If you've got news relevant to this space, or if you're looking for news relevant to this space, make sure you check it out. Scroll down to the bottom half of our homepage and you'll find the microsite feeds. That's all for today's Talk Business and Politics Daily. Until next time, take care.